Welcome to the Joyful Optimist, a place where we explore joy, purpose, and true wealth, especially in the moments when life feels anything but joyful. I'm your host, Sandy Cusano. I'm really glad you're here. You know, it feels almost ironic to relaunch a podcast called The Joyful Optimist at a moment in my life when I honestly haven't been feeling very joyful at all. But this is exactly where this new beginning needs to start. Because joy isn't about being perpetually positive. Joy is the muscle you call on when life feels heavy. Joy is what you practice when nothing is going your way. And lately, I've been in the kind of season where joy doesn't come easily. And that's exactly why this episode matters. So earlier this year, I got married. And we had the privilege of getting married on the big island of Hawaii. And I gotta tell you, I didn't just fall in love with my husband. In that moment, I fell in love with a way of living. So we're on the island and we were actually house sitting, not vacationing. And this allowed something to really shift in me. Life felt slower, warmer, more human. People talked to each other. We touched the ocean every day. We ate food grown from the land we were standing on. And in that simplicity, something clicked. I didn't know it at the time, but I was experiencing what true wealth actually feels like. Not money, not success, not achievement, but rather connection, energy, purpose, presence, joy. That awakening, that glimmer of who I could be and how I could live made everything afterward feel even more complicated. Because we came home ready to change our entire lives. And let me tell you, we flew back on a Sunday, and by Monday morning, we had a realtor inside our home prepping it to sell. And this wasn't just our home. It was a home I inherited from my mom, and it was a bed and breakfast for nearly 20 years before that. So inside this house was decades of other people's belongings layered with our own. I'm talking closets, attics, basements, generations of accumulation. I mean, at one point, Danny was driving to the dump every single day, hauling almost just tons, literal tons of furniture and papers and junk. And, but it was cathartic. It was certainly brutal. It was the biggest release of physical attachment I've experienced. But we had this plan, sell the house, move to Hawaii, start our new chapter. Simple, right? Except that's not what happened. So the house didn't close. As of today, it still hasn't. We had to release the house in Hawaii that we found. And suddenly this momentum we'd created evaporated into this long pause. But let me say, in this limbo, we did something that was very us. We hit the road. So we packed the car and drove across the country doing what we do best, exploring. And honestly, we made the most of it. We fell in love with cities like Pittsburgh and Chicago. We soaked up the mountains and sunsets in Bozeman, Montana. We saw our first buffalo in the Badlands of South Dakota and hundreds more in Yellowstone. We camped under wide open skies in Utah, and we drove through the Tetons. And it all sounds romantic. And let me tell you, it was. It was magical and wild and cinematic in all the ways you want an open road adventure to be. And then life slowed down and reality caught up in a way. We landed in Arizona for a stretch, and there was this idea of settling there, even temporarily. It became a real possibility. And while I understood why it was a good possibility, my whole body said no. And it was not a logical no. It was hard to explain, but it was a full body nervous system level, absolutely not type of no. And I found myself falling into a depression I couldn't explain. I teared up daily. My energy bottomed out, and our relationship, my marriage, felt the tension because neither of us knew how to navigate what was happening inside me. On top of that, my inner critic was just bouncing around in my head, saying, you coach people on joy and alignment, and you can't even do it for yourself. You're a fraud. Stay quiet. And the truth is, I think part of me believed that voice for a while. I knew what I needed to do. I could feel the truth under the noise, but I couldn't find the strength to act on it. So I stayed quiet for months. And so flash forward to today, and nothing has changed externally between then and now. I'm still in transition, still in uncertainty, still in the messy middle. But something inside has shifted. I'm done staying quiet because I realized something important. You don't need to hear from me when everything is perfect. You need to hear from me when everything is not. When joy feels far away, when the path is blurry, when your inner critic is loud, when you're stretched thin and doing your best to hold it together. This episode is for anyone who wants joy but can't quite feel it. For anyone doing all the right things and still feeling off. For those of you who are exhausted from being strong. For anyone longing to reconnect with themselves again. And yes, I'm totally talking to myself too. One of the most powerful ideas from the mental fitness world and from my 5 years practicing at Positive Intelligence is this. Mental fitness is your ability to meet life's challenges with a positive mindset instead of stress, frustration, or self-judgment. It's not about being happy. It's about building stamina, resetting, resilience, returning to yourself over and over. And honestly, it's mental fitness that kept me afloat. So here's the one question I want to leave with you. Where in your life do you feel out of alignment with who you're becoming? If it helps, you can approach it gently in a few different ways. You can think of it as the question, is there a truth that you've been avoiding? A dream you've been shelving? A version of you you've outgrown? Or is there a small reset your body is asking for? You don't need the answer right now. Just breathe with the question. Joy doesn't return in a tidal wave. It returns in ripples. Over the next few episodes, we're going to explore those ripples together. So today we began with the vulnerable truth, what joy looks like when it feels far away. In our next episode, I want to talk a little bit more about true wealth and why your health, energy, purpose, and joy matter more than anything else you can chase. Then we'll explore a concept called conscious leadership. Waking up, showing up, and leading with presence instead of pressure. And at the end of the month, I'm so excited that I can bring to you a conversation with my good friend Natalie Siston, who is the author of the book Let Her Out. The perfect bookend to this relaunch of the podcast. Don't wait for the magic. Be the magic. If this episode stirred something for you, leave me a comment and share it with a friend who might need it too. I'll be right here walking beside you as your true wealth coach. See you next time.